All right, gang, just wanted to check in with you here, go through day. This is obviously still week one. Everything will be due discussion-wise by Friday, and then everything will be due on Sunday as far as your concept papers. Let's look at what that looks like. On a common day, I'm going to come in and look for the directions. Obviously, I'm updating them right now, so they're going to be updated right at the moment. As far as time frame goes, usually for me, unless something weird happens like this weekend, my truck broke down in Kirksville, Missouri, and I was late getting home, or later than I had planned. So what normally happens for me is from about 8:30 to 10:30 on Sunday nights, I will check in with the health class and see where we're headed for the week. I'll grade your papers, I'll unlock the next week's stuff, and you should be up and rolling. Some things that I wanted to emphasize to you is kind of the basic day. I had a guy ask me about the basic day, so let's go through and look at the basic day. When I come in on Monday, let's say, I'm going to look at currently working on. Look for any directions that are there. I'm going to watch those directions. I'm going to go down here and figure out what week we're in. Week one, we have the introductions and the skeletal system. So everything that happens in there is going to be about the skeletal system or the introductions. At this point, you should already have your introductions done, posted. Everybody else has read and responded to them. Then you're going to want to look at the objectives. What is it that we're trying to accomplish? Student and teacher will complete introductions and review course policies and procedures. We're going to continue to do that for the next couple weeks. Students will investigate the structures, maintenance, disorders, treatments, and write a paper to summarize and implement healthy habits for the skeletal system in their own life. Now, you're going to summarize what you read. You're going to talk about how to apply it generally in the world, and then you're going to talk about how you're going to implement some of those strategies into your own life. 3, students will discuss the concept of preventative care, the importance of maintaining and improving health in an online discussion. That's going to be your case study. So let's go find these things. On the left-hand side, the next thing you have under currently working on is the assignment guide. When you open the assignment guide, it tells you everything in black is an activity, anything in blue is an assignment, anything with red underlined is a due date, and discussion deadlines. The discussion is going to be in green and the due date will be in bold red. When it says Friday, that means Friday of the week. So Friday of January 8th through the 18th, if I'm looking at my calendar correctly, should be Friday, January 16th. That would be the end for all introductions. Then you're going to need to read the classmates' introductions. The reason we do this on Friday is so that you have time to read and respond to them before the deadline on Sunday. Then you're going to need to read through the Prezi that introduces your body systems unit and provides some fun facts. Now, what I would do is notice it has 1, 2, 3 asterisks. This is an example of several different body system projects. It does all the body systems for the whole unit and introduces what's happening. Read through them, and when you get to the skeletal system, you're going to want to use the skeletal system information in your concept paper. Then, when that's done, put a check mark there. I would be taking notes in a Google document while I was reading this. Anything that I found interesting or new information, adding to that Google document. Then, review the skeletal system. www.innerbody.com. While you're reading this, again, taking notes over the skeletal system, looking at the pictures, looking at the captions, click on what parts of the body interest you or what bones or previous bones that you've broken or functions of bones. Any of those things that are interesting to you, put them down in your notes in your Google document. One trick that I can show you here is you can minimize this. Let me drag it over here. I got 2 screens open. So I got this right here. And I notice that all of these are linked. So when I click this, it's going to take me there. I can open another tab. I can click on the Brady Bunch button, go to my drive, and I got to sign in. I wasn't signed in, so bear with me here. Whoops, that's not my password anymore. Please don't look at my password. Alright, I'm just going to click right here on New, and it could be a doc. And I'm going to want to drag that right out here, right next to my reading. go to Blackboard. It should have me on the skeletal system. And obviously I have two screens hooked up to my computer. You may not have that. As you're reading along or you're exploring, you might want to look at the bones of the head. Head and the neck. As you read about it, you might find something interesting. It's the vital role of supporting the brain. That could be interesting to me. Head, bones, support, brain. Boom. There's something interesting. At the end of that, I'm going to want to put a citation. And this was written by Tim Taylor. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can see Tim Taylor there. So I'm going to want to put inner body Taylor, paragraph 1. And if I type that correctly, it should say inner body Taylor, PAR 1. Close. Now, your actual citation in your paper should just simply be Taylor, paragraph 1. You might want to put inner body in here because then you'll need to know to put inner body on your works cited page on your final concept paper. Your weekly concept papers don't need works cited pages. Your final concept papers do. So that takes care of that. That's taking notes. So on Monday, I would take notes on one of the documents. Tuesday, the second document. Let's go back to Blackboard here. To navigate back to that, I just click back on the assignment guide, or I can go to currently working. And it's week 1 introductions and skeletal system. When this goes ahead and opens up, remember this is just kind of an easy way to get you started. Click back on Blackboard. Skeletal system interactive reading. That's where we were working, and it'll take you there. And you click back. Skeletal system case studies. Click back. Like I said, I would take 1 to 2 of these a day and read them. Then on Thursday and Friday, I would start working on my concept paper where I would take all my notes and start to summarize. Then once I have it summarized, I'm going to pick out some of the key things that are important about what the system does and how to maintain it. Talk generally to people about how to maintain that system. And then in my final paragraph, should be 5th or 6th paragraph, I'm going to conclude with how I can use those tips in my own personal life. What can I physically do to better my skeletal system and make my life better? When you're done writing your paper, you go back to assignments. It's underneath Unit 1, Body Systems. You're going to notice right here there's your informative rubric. So I click on that. Once my paper's done, this is how my paper is going to get graded. Okay. This has been changed up here. We're going on a 5-point scale. So it'll be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Instead of 0 down here, it'll be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you just slide these over. That gives us a little more wiggle room here at the front. And then the other thing that you need to know is your concept papers are weighted down. So each one is going to be worth 5 points to you. So you get 1 full point for this row, 1 full point for this row, 1 full point for this row, and 1 full point for this row. And 1 full point for this row right here. The other thing that we're looking at doing this semester is, and I'd like some feedback from you on this, I'd like to go 4 points total for your paper. 1, 2, 3, and 1 point for these two right here. It's come to my attention that this is heavily English down here in the bottom, and yes it is. It's an English rubric. We're working on writing, but I might weight it in the direction of what I really want you to do. State your purpose, organize your paper, and make sure to cite the evidence that you used. So then this part down here could become worth less points to you if you would like, but be sure to include that feedback in the general discussion, and I'll let you know kind of how that goes. So there's that. The rubric, don't forget the rubric. It's important. It has points associated with it, has descriptions of what goes in your paper, so be sure to use the rubric. The other thing that's attached to every assignment is your instructions for your concept paper. Here's what your paragraphs look like. 1, introduction. It's a brief overview. Very simply, tell me what has happened in your readings. All of those things on the assignment guide that have asterisks, those should be discussed or touched on in the introduction. Try to avoid actually summarizing every single document in its entirety. This is a 1.5-page paper. Okay? What you want to do is you want to pick the things that are interesting from each required document and include those in your brief overview. Then you're going to summarize the key claims. Okay? So what are those key things? And I misspoke earlier. I combined these two. The introduction should be an overview of all of the topics. So what is the skeletal system? Then you're going to include the things that you're interested in. So those things from your notes, that's the synthesis. Then the implications. How do the concepts focus on the guide solving a real-world problem? So what does it mean for everybody else? Then put an illustration within your life, something that you've used bone-wise. You know, maybe you drink extra milk because you have had a tendency to break bones. Whatever it is, include that in your paper. And then your conclusion, comment on what you learned by writing the paper. So essentially it could be 5 to 6 paragraphs depending on how much you include down here on 4 and 5. Now remember, 4 and 5 are the heaviest of the two things. So whenever you come in to your paper, make sure that you go through the MLA guidelines. If you want to look at them, here they are. Make sure your headings are correct, your paper formatting is correct. In your weekly papers, you only need parentheticals in the paper. You don't actually need a works cited page. And that is it for the paper. Do not forget the rubric. It is here. Again, they're all attached right underneath where you submit your assignment. In order to submit the assignment, you click on Submit. You're going to browse my computer. When it pops up, you select the assignment. If you have this in Google Drive, it may help you to obviously click on your Google Drive and go to that. Once it's selected, the name of the file should be whatever the essay is, U1-1 Body System Concept Paper, or U1-1 Skeletal System. And your name should always be included in the subject line of the assignment. If you have any questions about any of this, feel free to email me. My contact information, danielc@ksdr1.net. And expect to hear from me either on Wednesday when I check in midweek or on Sunday. Do not expect an immediate response from me in this course. Now, if it is something that is immediate, I obviously have linked into the general discussion. We talked about discussions. The general discussion is right here. You just submit a general discussion. And then if you have any questions, it goes right in there. And see that some of you have already jumped on the skeletal system case studies and your introductions are here. So I'll get to those. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know.